Okay, we're going to review 10.3 a bit. Okay, so write this down. To translate phrases such as is, at least. So these are phrases that you will see on those word problems. And when you see phrases like is at least, or is normal, is no less than, or is at most, and is no more than, into mathematical terms, and when you do the word problems, when you translate these inequalities into inequality, okay, you use which symbol? Anybody? So think about it. As you write this down, which symbol do you use when you when you translate these phrases? Okay, think about it. Go ahead, write it down. So you will use greater than symbol. So think about it. If I say I have at least $5,
Oh, less than.
less than or equal to, okay. What other symbol could it be? Yeah.
Maybe greater than or equal to?
Yeah. So either less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Would it be okay to use like greater than or less than symbol for these? For example, if I say I have no more than $20, right? Does that mean I could have $20? Yeah. So it is. So you have to include that. So you have to include that number, right? So we have to use the inequalities with less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. Does that make sense? You understand? So we'll do some examples. Okay. So here. Yeah, write it out. So example 1A. Oops. Example 1A. Yeah, the age of the tree is at least 70 years. Okay? So if the age of the tree is X, we'll just use X. Okay. What would you how would you represent this sentence? Okay, a lot of you, okay. Danielle, what do you think? No, yeah, let's say we did that. Let's say the declare is the variable is X.
X is greater than or equal to 70.
Good. Could I do greater than 70 only alone? Like no. Why is it greater than or equal to 70? Theater. It says at least, so it could be 70. Could it be 71?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be. It says greater than or equal
Could
to.
it be 69 now?
No, that's fine. So it can be, or anything less than 70. Does that make sense? So why don't you try the rest of these, and then write down the inequality that represents it. So B says the rent is no more than $4,000 per month, and so forth. Go ahead and write them down.
What?
Yeah, maybe it's some business building or something. I don't know. Okay, who thinks they know the second one? It says the rent is no less than $4,000 per month. Let's just use X for our variables. Okay, yeah, Amber. X is less than or
No.
oh, it's greater than or equal to, isn't it? No less than means it has to be. It can't be less than 4. Yeah, it can be. So be careful, guys. The rent cannot be less than 4,000. So it's got to be right more. But it says no less than means it could be 4,000, but then it's going to be more than that, right? Okay. What about C? The price of the iPhone is at most. Does that mean it could be $600 one?
No.
$601? No. Could it be 600?
Yes.
Could it be less than that?
Yes.
Kate, what'd you put?
$1.
Yeah, the X is less than or equal to 600 is correct. Yeah, it could be $1, but right. Then the last one, her time in 100K race was no more than 40 minutes. Yeah, Courtney. X is less than or equal to 40. Could it be 40? Yeah. Could it be 41? No. Okay. Could it be 39? Okay. Does that make sense? Yes? Are we okay with that? Okay. Any question? All right. Then let's move on to the next thing that I want to talk about. So let's just do one example. This is example 2. Now, what I noticed, guys, when I give an example like this, some people are getting confused. Once you have the absolute value by itself, right? When you write, so this becomes how many inequalities? 2. And when you write those 2 inequalities, does the thing inside the absolute value ever change at all? No. Some people are changing that too. That's wrong. Only thing that changes what? The 2 becomes -2, and then the inequality becomes the opposite for the other one. The first one is what? It looks exactly the same without the absolute value. You see what I mean? Right here. We get the same exact one without the absolute value. And then the other one that you get is you keep the thing that's inside the absolute value exactly the same, right? But then you reverse the inequality symbol and write the opposite of the number. Now, is this going to be and or? And, because this is less than, right? Less than. So this is a conjunction, remember? If it was greater, remember greater, then it's or. Okay, so example 2, why don't you then finish it up and graph it, okay? Solve and graph.
Already did that.
Okay, good.
Lightning. I'm like thunder. Not with lightning.
So the left side, what does it become? You first add 3 and then multiply by 2, you get what? X is? Less than or equal to 10. And then the other one you get? Yeah. Yeah. By the way, when it's a conjunction, and does that ever change? After the, no, it keeps on, right? That never changes. Once you know, when you have the absolute value by itself, and then you know that it's less than, and when it's conjunction, and is always and, okay? So, did you all get this graph where you have the overlap? So, do I leave it like this? Would it be okay? No? Okay, how would you graph this? Verge.
Closed circles on two.
Yeah, how do we remember? How do we read that? All real numbers.
Oh, okay. All real numbers between 2 and 10, including the end.
That's right. All real numbers between 2 and 10, including the endpoints. Okay? Very good. How many people got this? Raise your hand. Very good. So do you know how to do something like this? Now, if there were some numbers in front of the absolute value, what are you going to do? You need to? Yeah, get rid of those. Simplify those first. You must have the absolute value by itself. Okay? And so before I give you the answer to 11.1 homework, okay, I wanted to review a little bit. Guys, remember, who remembers, like, if I want...
Are you writing this?
Yeah, you're going to write this down. If I want a distance, if I want maybe 1x of the way... Uh-huh. Between A to B. So you guys remember what the formula was?
Minus A over X.
Yeah, if this is A, if this is B, I want one x of the way from here. What would this be? You guys remember the formula? We talked about this.
B
Yeah.
minus A over X plus A.
B minus A over
X
x plus... Can I do A first? Is that okay? Alright. Does that, you guys remember this? This is all you had to do last night, right? Remember? Now, let me ask you this though. How come when we were finding half a way between two numbers, we just find the average? What did that... Do you remember? That was kind of different than all the other ones, right? If it was 1/3 of the way, or 1/4 of the way, 1/5 of the way, we do this. But for the average, we just add A plus B and divided by 2. Yeah, it's the average of the middle point. So do you think this formula will work for the average as well? Yeah. Yes, it will. Watch this. If I want half a way between A to B, watch this. Instead of 1 over x, I'm going to do what? A plus B minus A over 2. And guess what? This is going to be equal to the average. Watch how this becomes average, okay? We get A plus... Oh, what's A really? How do we add these together? We have to have a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by 2. So I get 2A over 2 plus what? B minus A over 2. And what does the numerator become when you do that? You get 2A. You get... B, you get B minus? No, you get 2A... Can I... Plus B minus A over 2. What is that? It's A plus B over 2. What is that? That's the average. So it turns out it's the same exact formula. This is just a shortcut. Okay? For half a way, that's how you get the average. Does that make sense? You guys follow? Okay. So if they ask for like 3/4 of the way, yeah, instead of 1 over x, it's going to be what? Between what? A to B. What would you do? It would be what? A plus still what? Instead of B minus A over x, it's going to be 3/4 of this distance. You know what I'm talking about? So it's the same idea, right? Yeah. Well, if you want B minus A over 1, if you want to put it there. But that B minus A is just that distance between A to B, and you're taking 3/4 of that distance. and you're adding it to your starting point. That's what you're doing. Does that make sense? Well, that's how you do that. Okay. Any other question? Yeah.
Is 11.1 going to be on our
No, 11.1 will be on.